welcome to the channel. We're going to be checking out Necrit's The World of Riot's MMO is already done. I've been recommended to watch this video many times in the most recent reactions that I've done to League of Legends cinematics because I'm a new person to the League of Legends lore. I've only played the game about 5 to 10 hours, and I just recently in the last couple of weeks have reacted to all of the cinematics that I've been able to find. And then we also just recently reacted to Necrit's Power Levels video, so if you want to check any of those out, I highly recommend them before you go into this one. And yeah, I've been recommended to watch this by you guys in all of the comments on all my videos, so we're going to get into it right now.
In the past, here we go. MMOs were regarded as the godfathers of games. They were the peak of what developers could accomplish. Even though, looking back, that's a fairly subjective thing to say.
Is this EverQuest?
Everyone knew MMOs had the power to create cult following, but also everyone knew
RuneScape?
Making MMOs was hard. On average, an
MMO
MMO has to spend at least 6
and it's a lot of
years
money
in the baking before it can get anywhere near being good. But that
it's a lot of money to invest.
From jumping onto the
bandwagon
and
sometimes
anyway.
It don't work out.
And soon we could see dozens of new MMOs, all releasing in 2008.
That Warhammer game was EA.
All
Interesting.
being called the WoW Killers. Spoiler
I never
alert,
played any of those.
None of them did that. And unfortunately, we can feel the ripple effects even now. It got to a point where every time a new MMO is announced, we all think the same thing.
What's
that?
Avatar
anyway,
Reckoning.
When you're working on an MMO,
I never heard of that, but I'm sure that didn't get very far.
Is king, social interactions matter,
true,
and the
true.
world setting is important.
True, very true.
When Riot announced their MMO, it became clear that 2 of the pillars are being respected, and the third one is already done.
It's already
when it
done.
comes to gameplay, it is currently in the hands of Ghostcrawler, someone who's been working on WoW during its best times, and someone who got a reputation for hating boomkins and loving
I played
mages.
World of Warcraft during the Wrath of
social
the Lich King era,
it is a
and that's
dance
kind of
between the
it.
Developers and the players. A dev can guide players towards social interactions, or they can annihilate them. And after that, the players usually find
Is this Final
their
Fantasy
own fun
XIV?
inside the MMO.
So it looks like.
From that point on, the devs should do everything in their power to support the players having fun in their own way. And finally, when it comes to the world of an MMO, in Riot's
That's
case,
the World of Warcraft map.
And it's been finished for quite a few years now.
Ooh, this looks
in
good.
Fact, the World of Riot's MMO is in such a good state. They already have the continents, the zones, the cultures, and the races. And to a lesser degree, every zone already has its own storyline. Now, of course,
this is Noxus,
unless
right?
you follow the lore of League of
I feel
Legends,
like that's you
wouldn't know about this. And that's why I decided to make this video. I want to show you all the zones we are going to see in the MMO and what sorts of quests we are
Oh, this is Piltover and Zon.
So,
okay.
for the purpose of this video, I will assume you have no idea what League of Legends is about. You have no idea what the universe is about, but you like MMOs, your hairline
I've also
is
watched
receding,
ARCANE.
And you have a crippling fear of Nintendo 64 controllers.
I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video.
I might add, why do you think I'm wearing hats? But now, without further ado, let's have a look at all the zones in Riot's MMO.
Okay, cool.
This is Runeterra, the world of League of Legends. Right
now,
the world is
we learned about all
separated
these
into 10
places
main regions.
through the cinematics.
But these 10 regions
Oh, you can see where the heroes are.
On the map, so
Oh,
there
okay.
are some mini zones in between them. And the lore already revealed that there is gonna be another continent further to the east.
Shurima, and Targon.
That definitely sounds like a future expansion to me. In fact, it would be foolish to release all of these regions at launch.
Right.
You can easily turn half of these into separate expansions.
True.
And because a lot of people already know and love these regions, the hype behind these expansions would be big.
That's true.
With that said, I know a lot of you would like to play as Shurimans or Ionians. And now you may be cursing me for suggesting that these would be expansions.
Yeah, right.
But the lore can justify
makes sense, though.
giving you these nations as playable races without having their regions. I'll show you how Riot can pull this off in a bit. First, let's talk about the regions Riot's MMO has to start with. The Northern Continent.
That I was gonna say, from what I gathered from watching cinematics.
Not Valorant, Valorant.
Yeah.
And this is where the absolute core of this world is. The 2 main regions here are Demacia and
I feel like
Noxus.
maybe
They are
Piltover
the
and
2 big
Zon
rivals,
too, or
equivalent
no?
to the Horde and the Alliance.
I feel like those would be included.
While I would like to say that Demacia is your classic normie human region, it's not really true. Runeterra doesn't really have a normal place. There is something cool happening in every region. And Demacia
there's all the little like other
has racism. Okay, maybe not
cities
racism,
or
because
areas.
Demacia doesn't mind Yordles or Minotaurs, but they
Huh.
really hate mages. That's
Oh,
because
okay.
in the past, their rivals almost annihilated half of the world using magic. And so, Demacia was built inside a magic-absorbing forest. Therefore, Demacia is a really cool place where you can hide from magic.
Is
When
that
it comes to the
partly why
visuals of the
Heimerdinger's
zone, you
afraid
can
of
see
magic?
A lot of lush fields.
I wonder.
It is surrounded by mountains, but the iconic part of Demacia are the buildings.
This would remind me
They
of
are made of
Stormwind,
petricite, which
I
is a
feel like,
combination
from
of
World of
stone
Warcraft.
and the magic-absorbing wood. Because
Demacia.
these ancient magic-absorbing trees were grey, all the buildings have a marble.
Like, you know, it's got the same
appearance.
colors and aesthetic
And
a little
yes,
bit.
Even what material they are using, all the buildings in Demacia also absorb magic. So should a mage visit this region,
It absorbs all their
let's
magic.
just say it's gonna be a painful experience.
Huh.
On top of this, let's not forget that Demacians can weaponize petricite. They can turn it into petricite steel, which gives you your classic anti-magic weapons, and you can sculpt petricite
Anti-magic
constructs which
weapons.
wake up after absorbing magic. Simply said, these guys just really don't like magic.
I feel like that's kind of a weakness to
irony
not
is,
like
they've
magic,
been
though.
absorbing it
To
for
be afraid
years
of it
now.
almost.
And this is where the story would kick in. You
Yeah.
see, the Demacians are so afraid of magic, they founded the Mage Seeker Order. This is an order of people who hunt mages, they throw them into prison, and they torture them until their body gives up on magic. So yes, being a mage is a crime in Demacia.
Okay.
The thing is, people still get naturally born with magical abilities. You
Okay.
can't stop it from happening. So not only are there mages hiding in the royal court,
Right.
right now
See, that adds a lot
there
of
is
story
mage civil
already.
war happening in Demacia.
That's a
where
huge
mages
story
and
already.
People who don't hate mages rise up to fight for moral rights.
Yeah, okay.
So should we do some quests in this zone?
They're
This
stealing that
is gonna be the
child
core
because he has
story.
magic.
Mages trying to overthrow racist leadership following old laws. So the main enemy NPCs might be mages and witches. But I know what you're thinking now, and don't worry. There will be plenty of boars to kill here too. Or at least there are loads of wolves here, as well as stags. And we can't forget the iconic Demacian raptors. But
Yeah, this
further
just
to
will
the
remind
south,
me of
we might
Stormwind,
find
for
some
sure.
crag beasts, tiny woolly elephants, and yes, of course in the Argent
Woolly
Mountains there
okay.
are also dragons.
Okay.
Loads and loads of dragons. But that's about it for Demacia.
And this is
Fun
just
fact,
Demacia.
The capital city of Demacia is called the Great City of Demacia.
Oh, okay.
Sounds dumb, but Runeterra was not the first one to come up with this. But thankfully the other regions
This
are a bit
already
more
is cool.
creative with their names.
Honestly.
So now let's move away from the normal
now we're gonna go to
region
Noxus?
and let's have a
Okay.
look at the badass region, Noxus.
Okay.
If you're planning on playing a warrior with oversized weapons and overcompensating lush hair, this is the region for
Not
you.
generally the kind of characters
This
I
place
play,
actually
but
has a long and badass history, but we really
I
don't
generally
have
in
the
like
time to
MMOs try to
explain
play
it now.
mages or
So
like
just know
rangers.
that originally it was built by the most badass warrior in the history of Runeterra. This motherfucker literally died on a mountain of corpses. And after he died, he was too angry to stay dead, so he just became the god of the underworld.
Mordekaiser.
When this guy lived, he built the Immortal Bastion, which is to this
Okay.
day the largest structure on the entirety of Runeterra. And currently he is
Okay.
banished underneath the Immortal Bastion, but only a few people know about it. So,
Huh.
you know, that's a future raid boss. Anyway,
Ah,
the Immortal Bastion
okay,
is
yeah.
the capital city of the Noxian Empire, with Noxus being one of the most brutal nations in Runeterra.
I think I'd
It
probably
is
make a
brutal
Noxus
because
character
the nation
though.
is surrounded by rocky earth. It is hard to grow plants
Over
here.
Demacia.
So Noxians are forced into conquering surrounding land for resources to survive. That's why when you go to the map, you can notice that the Noxian territory is all over the place. It's because these are all the places Noxus has already conquered.
Okay.
Although, when I say it like that, you may imagine Noxus brutally raiding everything. But that's not true. They like to absorb the surrounding nations into
That's
their
LeBlanc,
empire.
right?
After all, it's just more human resources. Most of the time, they only remove the royalty and they let the leaderless people join their empire. And that's because Noxus values strength above all.
Okay.
And rulers tend to not be good fighters. This is what you can see in the after victory
So,
cinematic.
like,
They
are
killed the
Noxus
king
and
because he
Demacia at
was
war?
weak and let everyone
Did he
else
say
join.
that? I'm
Fun fact,
curious.
conquering nations is so iconic for Noxus, they have their own saying.
Ah.
Kill them until they are family.
Oh god.
So when it comes
okay.
to the quests in Noxus, it is most likely going to be helping the Empire expand its territory.
Okay.
Although
I don't think
this
them and
region
Demacia
has
get
its
along
own
then.
unique enemies too. Inside the Immortal Bastion, there is a cult known as the Black Rose. This cult is connected to the darkest of magics. So be ready to fight Hemomancers,
I know the Black Rose was
witches,
mentioned
demons,
a lot
and the Grey Legion,
in the power levels
which is an army of soldiers revived
video.
with blood magic to fight for the Empire again.
Okay.
And when it comes to collecting 10 bear asses, here we have the native Drakehounds and Basilisks.
Okay.
Now, while Noxus and Demacia are the main rivals here,
Right.
both
okay.
of them are also constantly repelling raids from the north.
Okay.
So now,
So
let's
maybe
have
I'd
a
make a
look at
character
the
up here
Freljord.
too, though.
Just like pretty
I don't
much
know.
any region on Runeterra, Freljord has a long history.
Freljord.
But for the purpose of this video, just know that the maddening old gods known as the Watchers of the Void,
That looks
who want
cool.
to devour
That's
the
really
entire
cool
reality
art.
only because it keeps waking them up, once tried to breach into reality here. They almost succeeded because they tricked the Ice Witch Lysandra into helping them. Fortunately, she realized how wrong she was, and she managed to freeze half of the kingdom.
So she
with
comes
the
from
Watchers
Freljord then,
still
yeah?
beneath
Lysandra?
them. So these days, the Ice Witch is the only person holding back the end of reality by keeping the Watchers frozen.
Okay.
So at some point
So she's
in the
important.
future, you bet one of these woken
That
up
could
frozen
come out as a
Watchers
raid
is
boss.
gonna be a raid
Like,
boss.
yeah, exactly.
Now, when
Like
it
they
comes to the
they come
NPCs,
through or
this is
Lysandra
where
gets
things get diverse.
killed or taken
First
out.
of all, remember that the Freljord is brutally cruel. Everything is frozen, and survival is everything. So the first enemy here would be the wildlife. From Rhymefangs to Yetis,
Ice
to
wolves,
Kruaks, to
Yetis, yeah.
Elnets, to Mammoths, to the worst of them all, Poros.
Poros?
Next, we are going to fight
No,
the
we can't
Freljordians
kill any
themselves.
Poros.
There are three
They'd be
main
friendly, right?
tribes here. The Avarosans, who are quite peaceful, the Winter's Claw, who are quite brutal, and the Frostguard.
So there's like
Lysandra's
clans up there
followers
as
who
well.
hold back the Watchers. And let me tell you, these guys have some badass armor.
That does
Among
look cool.
the notable tribes, there are also the Ursine, which are shamans who worship the Volibear, the primal god of the wild.
He
who
was very
slowly
high up.
turns
He was
his
in the top 10, I
worshippers
think,
into
right?
Twisted animalistic monstrosities.
For most powerful.
Speaking of which, yes, there are also the primal gods of Freljord. And finally, we need to talk about the Iceborn. When the Watchers tried to arrive here, they tainted the ice around them. This special ice is called the True Ice. And it is so dangerous, you literally die if you touch it. However, the Watchers also tainted some people, giving them the ability to touch the ice. It is still extremely
Braum,
painful for
specifically?
them to
Is that
hold
why he
a
showed
true
Braum?
ice weapon, but at least they can survive it. These people
Oh, is Ash
are
as
known
well?
as the
Oh.
Iceborn.
Oh.
But people were not the only things that were tainted.
Okay.
There are also ice trolls, some of whom are also Iceborn.
Okay.
To be honest, these guys were made to have their own dungeon. But there are also some animals that were twisted by the
troll
Watchers.
dungeon?
And Lysandra is even twisting some beings herself to make them serve her. So overall, Freljord is gonna have a lot of cool warriors, shamans, and
shamans for
horrors.
sure.
So these would be the three regions on the main continent.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But this place is actually so big, it can easily make the base world of the game. Especially since there are a bunch of smaller regions in between them.
I could
There
see
is
it, honestly.
Nokmerge, full of witches, Argent Mountains with their dragons, Tokugol with void monsters, Dalamore Plains with him, and so
Kled.
much more. But from
I'm getting better at
here,
naming
you can
them.
cleverly set up the expansions because of how well everything is interconnected. So now, let's have a look
Ionia.
at the continent to the east called Ionia.
I feel like Ionia
has
would
a
be
very close
next, right?
connection to Noxus. You can only guess why. It's because Noxians once tried to conquer it all during an event simply called the Invasion of Ionia.
Okay.
This was a horrible war full of using children as soldiers because Noxians thought Ionians wouldn't fight back against children, and chemical weapons.
So Ionians fought back, huh?
And lots of chemical weapons. Speaking of which, remember Singed from ARCANE?
Right.
He's the guy who chemically devastated Ionia.
Okay.
Eventually, Noxus failed, but they kept their small
Yeah, I was gonna say, they failed.
territories. So the first quest here could be simply boarding a ship, sailing over, and exploring the place for the Noxian Empire.
Hell yeah.
Now, when it comes to Ionia itself, the place gets mystical. Everything here is alive and connected to the spirit of nature.
Yes, I remember in the one cinematic where a tree was cut down.
Animals to the people to the buildings.
You had to like replant a tree,
is alive.
otherwise the nature is gonna
if you
attack
Mother
you.
Nature, your house can twist and strangle you in your sleep. So you can only imagine how Mother Nature fought against Noxians. Usually a river came alive to drown them. That's why all the buildings here look like they were woven from wood. It's because they were. With nature,
Yeah, like,
magic,
honestly,
people let nature build their houses.
Riot needs to get on
means
this.
That sometimes your house can just walk away. When it comes to the NPCs here, obviously there is gonna be a lot of nature spirits.
Right.
And a lot more of simply mystical animals.
This
From
would be the
giant
mystical
flying
area of the
tigers
game,
to
100%.
the never-ending story. But be ready to also face local Ionians,
And ninjas
blade
and stuff,
masters,
and samurais,
shadow
and
cultists,
yeah.
murderers, and ninjas. Both
Yeah.
good, bad, and the in-between. But finally, there is also one more enemy that we could face. The furries. That's right, this race is known as the Vastaya. They are half humans and half magical animals.
Okay.
And yes, canonically, the species was born in exactly the way you are thinking. But to be fair, the Vastaya are quite cool, and they are definitely gonna be a playable race. Just like Yordles, who
I'd
also
make
like Ionia a lot.
Yeah, see,
Lastly,
I'd probably
after
make an
Noxians
Ionian
ravaged
character.
Mother Nature, demons started occupying all the places.
Like, I
filled
think
with
that would be
misery
the most
and
badass
doubt.
place to make a
So that's
character.
gonna be a nice bonus enemy. So yes, the exploration of Ionia and the raid on the Shadow Order could be a really cool first expansion.
Okay.
But it's definitely not Riot's only option, because we can also go south to Piltover and Zol.
Yeah.
These are the ones people will know about, simply
Right.
because this is where Arcane took place. Piltover and Zone are two massive
This would be
cities
cool too,
located
to
one
have in
around
an
the
MMO.
other.
I think this
And they
would
are so
honestly
massive,
be
they
so
could
cool.
easily be turned into their own playable zones. They are both focusing on futuristic technology
Hextech.
powered up by magic of the Hextech gemstones.
Yeah. Okay.
Using this magic, they can power up anything from guns.
I'd make a
to
character here as
augmented
well,
limbs
I
to
think.
Vehicles.
My top two would be
Visually, it is
Ionia
simply
and
futuristic
Piltover and
Victorian
Zon.
era. And unfortunately, there wouldn't be much of enemy variety. We would likely fight the rich houses of Piltover and their deadly assassins,
Right.
the occasional thief on the street,
You're in a city.
corrupt wardens, and the occasional rogue steam golem. But things get a bit more interesting in the undercity known as Zone. Zone is the dirty underbelly covered in thick toxic smoke. Because the majority of people are poor here, they developed a cheaper alternative to Hextech called Chemtech. This artificial green stuff
That's what
can
they call
power
it.
up cheaper limb replacements, as well as highly unstable weaponry. Zone is also controlled by the
Wow.
Gam Barons, which are obviously gonna be the main enemy here. But on the side, we may also meet some chemical mutants, unstable constructs, as well as some
Singed.
mass murderers and people who hunt down mass
Urgot.
murderers. And funnily enough,
Warwick's
at
down
the
there
very,
too,
very
right?
bottom of Zone itself, there are the hidden ruins of an ancient city full of traps.
Wait,
That
really?
is obviously gonna be a cool dungeon.
That's
So
cool.
yes, there is not much more that I can add here. Piltover and Zone were simply explored in Arcane.
Yeah.
So if you like the series, you are gonna like this place.
Yeah.
From here, we can travel
Okay.
further south to Shurima.
Shurima next?
Shurima used to be a massive empire that ruled the world. But after the emperor got betrayed by his best friend, the entire empire collapsed. This region is
Wasn't
a
that
massive
Azir?
desert with the occasional city near a river. In the center of the region, there is the Sun Disk, a colossal
The
piece
Sun
of
Disk.
star metal that has the power to reflect celestial magic. The Shurimans use this celestial magic to turn their best soldiers into the Ascended, also known as the Golden God Warriors.
okay.
However, these God Warriors wouldn't make a
Renekton?
great enemy here. That's because after the Emperor had died, the Ascended started
That's
fighting
Azir,
for
right?
leadership. And slowly, after learning how to use blood magic to gain the edge, they morphed their own bodies and became the Darkin. Twisted, blood-frenzied monsters
They
that
become
would
the
certainly
Darkin.
make really
Huh.
cool raid bosses. Besides this ancient evil, Shurima is also full of its own animals, raiders,
Okay.
dune scavengers,
Okay.
and on top of all of that, void creatures. That's because to the south, there used to be a kingdom known as Icathia that wanted to destroy the Shuriman Empire.
The Void.
So, they asked the Watchers for help. You can imagine how that went. The Watchers sent through some
Shurima,
void that
easy DLC
Icathia
area.
and polluted Shurima to this
100%.
day. To fight back the Void,
Rek'Sai?
Shurima does have a lot of hidden tombs around with hidden God Warrior weapons. Not to mention that Shurima also has a circle of time mages who are trying to freeze the Void in time. Now, as I mentioned near the beginning of the video, even if Shurima becomes an expansion, they can still easily make Shurimans a playable race because they are already connected to Noxus. As you can see, of course, Noxians already conquered part of Shurima.
Oh, they're showing
so
their,
some Shurimans are fighting for Noxus.
Huh, okay.
Also, as a cool fact, for those of you who like Arcane, Hex Crystals are harvested in Shurima. That's why a Shurima expansion would be a great follow-up to
Interesting.
And again, that's why Riot can easily turn only the northern continent.
Do they mention that in the show? I don't know if they do.
Going west from Shurima, we arrive at
Targon.
Targon. This place is incredibly unique. First of all, this mountain is not natural. It was literally pulled up from the ground by celestial gods. And that's because this place serves as a portal to the celestial realm, also known as Targon Prime. Now, because this mountain was pulled up, it also has some unique features. For example, you may find frozen lakes frozen horizontally on the mountain. And the very peak of the mountain is special too. Should a mortal reach the peak despite the brutal climate and the deadly wildlife, either they die from exhaustion, or the celestial gods deem them worthy and they become an ascended aspect. There is aspect of war, aspect of the sun, aspect of the moon, aspect of the twilight,
Leona,
aspect
Zoe.
of the guardian, and so on.
Okay.
Simply said, after people reach the peak, they become some of the strongest beings on the entire planet. So of course, the mountain is full of people who worship the celestial demigods. And I speculate this is where we could get a lot of cool armor sets. There are the Solari, who are devoted to the aspect of the sun.
Yeah, the armor
There are
looks
the
really cool
rivals,
for
the Lunari,
Leona.
who are devoted to the aspect of the moon. But also, the tribe I assume will become a playable class, the Warriors of Rakor. Of course, besides just humans, Targon also has all sorts of furry Vastaya. Near the bottom of the mountain, you may notice that the mountain is alive. But also there are Stellarcorns, a variety of mind-bending creatures, and loads of dragons. Speaking of
Targon seems cool as well.
This place is linked to the
I feel like
realm. So this is
it would be
where
like
we
a
may
dungeon
also
area
meet
or
the
raid area.
Star-forging celestial dragon Aurelian Soul, as well as all sorts of other celestial beings.
Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people live there, but it seems like it'd be like a good place to have like an important raid or something.
Targon would be
or
a
dungeons.
really cool raid. Next, on the other side of Shurima, there is Ishtal. This is a special place where people are mastering the elemental magic. They are using it for everything. Fishing, smithing, walking, and this place is definitely gonna be saved for an expansion. Basically, remember when Icathian asked the Watchers for help? And then that happened? Ishtal was their neighbor, and after they saw the Void devour an entire kingdom, they believed the Void would soon devour the entire world. So, using their elemental magic, Ishtal built massive walls of plants around their entire region, isolating themselves from the rest of the world.
So they're isolated.
For 3,500 years, Ishtal stayed isolated, believing that the world outside of their walls was devoured by the Void. But now, very recently, some mages found out that the world outside is completely fine. So now, the Ishtali mages
That's a cool storyline that you could have. Yeah.
To be honest, Ishtal is the most underdeveloped region in Runeterra.
We
know the
it's
region
the newest,
has a
I'm
lot
assuming.
of hunting Vastaya, deadly plants, and some elemental dragons. But most of the region is still a mystery to us. So at least here, Riot will have the freedom to try something new.
This is all very cool.
We'll leave the main
Bilgewater and Shadow
visit
Isles.
the last two regions. First of all, there is Bilgewater. If you like pirate adventures,
I do like
this
Bilgewater.
is gonna be your place. This is where we are going to explore inns and gambling dens, even some local
there's always a
temples
pirate
worshiping
area
the
in
god of
MMOs, I feel
ocean,
like.
Nagake Boros.
Always.
Here we are going to fight pirates and sea monsters, sea
I'd make a
witches,
Bilgewater
sea
character if it was an option.
maybe some demons. And possibly we'll side with Sarah Fortune to
I can
fight
already
the
see
king of the pirates,
Bilgewater as an
Gangplank.
area in
But
this
there's a
MMO.
lot more here. Last year, Riot released their RPG, which was set in Bilgewater. So not only can we already explore this place
What is
in
this?
detail, but
Wait,
it even
what is
has
this
a
game?
monster journal. And at a quick glance, you can already see some really cool bosses too.
Huh.
However, this place is also linked to the
I did
last
not know
place
anything
I wanna
about
show you
this.
today, the Shadow Isles.
Okay.
See, every year the horrors of the Shadow
My boy
Isles
Thresh is
lurk
from here,
out,
right?
and Bilgewater just happens to be the closest place. So every year, Bilgewater is fighting the undead.
That makes sense.
Once upon a time, the Shadow Isles used to be the Blessed Isles.
Blessed Isles.
A rich place full of advanced magic. Long story short, there was a young asshole king who wanted to revive his dead queen. And in the process, he accidentally released dark necromantic magic. This magic destroyed the island and made it home for undeath. In the lore, this event is called the Ruination.
Right.
And because the RPG is called the Ruined King, it may not be a surprise to you that you also get to explore the Shadow Isles there.
Okay.
And there they have anything you can imagine.
I did not know about this
Undead
game.
horrors creeping everywhere. And should we ever venture into these islands,
This would be like another raid
I
area or
have
dungeon
no
area.
idea whom we're going to fight. The
Yeah.
ruined king who caused all of this is banished elsewhere. Thresh, who siphoned his magic after he was banished, also left the Isles. And even Hecarim, the most brutal soldier
Maybe
of
we'd
them
play
all,
through that
is
story.
currently around Demacia.
I don't know.
So the Shadow Isles don't currently have a main baddie. So this is where Riot could push forward some
Fiddlesticks.
of the side
I don't know.
characters. Now, even though these have all been the regions that are currently set up on Runeterra, Riot has already confirmed that there is a new continent further to the east. Currently, it is planned to be revealed in the upcoming Ruination novel. And so far,
there's a
we
novel
know that
coming
this
out?
new continent
Okay.
is where the ruined King Viego is from. And this is also where he was banished at the end of his story.
Oh,
All
interesting.
we know about that place is that it is quite mystical. There are yet more dragons here, and in fact, Camavor, which is the Ruined King's nation, has a lot of
Camavor.
draconic armor. So should Riot run out of places to explore, don't worry, they can always make up more.
Right.
But that's all I wanted to show you today.
That was a
As
very
someone
cool
who's been
video.
following the lore of League of Legends from the very
That told me a
beginning,
lot of
I
information
can tell you, I'm very confident the
That was a
setting
good
of
breakdown
Riot's MMO is gonna be
of like
great.
each
Their
area.
incredible writers have been preparing the world for years now. And now, it's time to harvest the fruit. If you like this video, let
Yeah,
me
forget
know
about
in
the
comments
fighting game
below,
they're making. I'm gonna be
because right
honest.
now
Just
I
go to the
still have
MMO.
3 more topics that I could talk about in regards to the MMO. I especially want to talk about the potential raid bosses we can face.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
the
that'd
potential
be cool.
classes we could play.
Yeah.
And as someone who has collected an unholy amount of transmog, I would love to show you all the cool armor sets this universe has.
Yeah.
But that's it for this video.
This was very, very, very
See
good.
you in 6 to 8 years when the MMO gets released.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That was a great recommendation, everybody. I love that he broke down each area and told me like how it was developed, what their ideals are. You know, he showed some pictures of the people that are there, like the characters in League of Legends that are currently there, and the kind of like creatures and things that are in those areas. Honestly, I think his breakdown was perfect. I think him telling us that first continent with Demacia and what is it? It's Valoran with Demacia, Noxus, and Freljord. Perfect starting point for an MMO. Move us on over to not Piltover and Zon, whatever the next one was, I forget. And then yeah, like honestly, Riot, I'm assuming hopefully has watched this video. I'm assuming they're hopefully working on it or have decided to work on it because I'm sure they have the money. I think it would be a really, really good game. MMOs are really hard to make though. And I know like they're kind of hit or miss, right? There's only a few. Whenever you think of MMOs, there's like a handful, right, that stick around, and the rest, which is a lot, kind of just died. They just don't last. So it would be interesting to see a League of Legends MMO. I would personally play it, even though I don't play League of Legends. I would 100% play it. I'm sure a lot of people would. But yeah, this video was really, really awesome in terms of like explaining the certain areas of the world and just telling me a lot more about the lore. So if you guys want to give me another recommendation, we could continue watching these MMO videos. I saw that there were a couple more If you guys want me to watch the rest of those, I can continue watching those. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure where to go to from here to just learn a little bit more about the lore of League of Legends. So please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next reaction. All right, peace.